Okay, hello YouTube. I just wanted to make a video about ChengYu's. What is ChengYu's? ChengYu's is basically the Chinese word for metaphors, and they're very important for the Chinese language if you're learning the Chinese language. I think ChengYu's are important. Any Chinese person in China would tell you they're important. And I will make the argument that it's one of the most important things that you can learn in while learning the Mandarin language. And I say that because a lot of Chinese people use ChengYu's. They're very common in everyday speech. And when you're listening to someone in conversation, you don't want to be confused when they use one, because if you don't understand the context of the ChengYu, it will be confusing. You're gonna be like, what was that he just said? What does that mean? And you're gonna ask him, and then they're gonna laugh at you because they're gonna think you haven't studied enough. And I've had that happen to me before by an older man. I didn't understand what he said, and he said it's a ChengYu, and he said you're still silly. I'm gonna use that as the word as what he said. And he said silly, although it was kind of like it translates to silly, but it's a little bit worse than that. It's like you're kind of dumb, right? But he was being playful. But it's one of those things where, it's part of the language. It's just as important as most other things. So once again, why are ChengYu's important? Number two, it makes things easier. If you don't understand how ChengYu's work, let me give an explanation. ChengYu's are a lot of them have stories attached to them, and a lot of them mean certain things based on the story that can help you explain a situation or a person a lot easier than making a whole entire explanation of what you mean of how this person is or what the situation is like. Prime example, I'll use a couple ChengYu's for example here. First one, 刻舟求剑, right? It's 4 syllables, very easy. But what it means is, it means a person that's kind of like stuck in their own ways in regards to, using methods that probably are out of date or don't work like they would before, or maybe they've never worked, but this person's like, this is gonna work, and other people might try to convince him, like, try a new method, try a different way, and he's just stuck in this. And this is a rough translation of what it means, but you can just say 刻舟求剑 if you're trying to describe someone while you're talking to a Chinese person, and they'll go, oh, okay, I know what you mean. Instead of trying to explain, oh, he's like this, he's stuck in the way, blah, 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 you could just say 他刻舟求剑. Oh, I understand, right? Another one is, for example, 邯郸学步, right? The story is about someone who goes to a new place and they're trying to copy them, be like them, although they're not from there, but they're trying their best to be, and they never master, they never get there, and then they go back home to where they're from, and they've been taking so long trying to figure out how to do this new thing, and how to be this new person, how to act in this new way. They forgot how to act in their original way back their home. So not only do they not know how to be how to explain this, they didn't successfully study this new method of their life. They came back and forgot their old method, so they're completely lost, right? So you can use the 邯郸学步 to describe a person that may be similar to this type of situation. Once again, these are rough translations, but this is essentially like the foundations of kind of what those mean. And there's so many ChengYus. I think there's like thousands of them. And now I will say this: not everybody in China knows every ChengYu, right? But a lot of ChengYus are used in conversation. So if you're learning Chinese, you definitely need to figure out what's the most commonly used ChengYus that people use in everyday life, and then obviously use other ones too that may not be so common and impress some people. There's nothing but benefits learning ChengYus. It's not only is it useful, as I just explained, but Chinese people just find it impressive if you know any ChengYus. But if you know ChengYus, Chinese people find it impressive. It's easier to describe things, and the stories attached to the ChengYus are very interesting. I gave you a rough kind of summary of essentially what the meaning of the stories were, but those weren't the actual like stories. Like the 刻舟求剑 one, the guy that's stuck in his ways. It was about a guy on a boat that dropped his sword, and once he got to shore, he marked on the side of the boat where his sword was, but once he got to shore, he tried to look for it using the mark he had on the boat, but obviously you're not going to find the sword. It's in the water. It's deep, but it's like that. So yeah, it's nothing but benefits learning ChengYus. I think they're important. And once again, they're part of the language, and you'll be doing yourself a disservice if you don't learn them. Because people are going to use them, and it's just going to help you across the board when you want to explain things or describe things and things like that. It's nothing but benefits learning ChengYus. Now, once again, you might learn some where people aren't going to know. They're not going to know what ChengYu you may be using, which is, hey, something that a Chinese person doesn't know about the language, right? A ChengYu that they don't know. But, sometimes it can't, not all ChengYus can be, but that's why I'm saying, like, try to figure out the most common ones and then use some deeper ones. The older people, they know a lot of the ChengYus. But yeah, this is my reason for making this video. I'm just saying, if you're a Chinese learner, it's very important. Learn them and really understand them, and you'll go far. Okay? All right. That's it. Bye-bye.